Arizona's primary election is set for next Tuesday, this amid the volatility of an especially active election season. Joining us now is Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me again,
Are you ready? State ready for all this? It's coming up.
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay.
We're ready. We've done a ton of work, though. I will tell you, we've had unprecedented amounts of work in the Secretary of State's office, and I have to, at the top, give kudos to my team, especially in the election department. 3 new parties, tons of people filing to run for president. Whether they make it or not is a different thing. And a petition signature number because of the initiatives that has never been seen. So including work on the primary, we've just been crushed, but it's good work.
Concerns over this CrowdStrike outage, what kind of concerns are there regarding this?
Well, as far as the election systems are concerned, we don't have concerns. All of our tabulation equipment, which is what counts the ballots, none of that is connected to the internet. None of that is going to be working through those systems. As far as some of the rest of our systems are concerned, our team identified the problem within 5 minutes of it actually happening. We had our technicians literally working at night, and by the time we got to midday of the first day most people were waking up to this, we were pretty much all set. So I have an amazing IT team as well, and the counties are working through a couple of minor issues, but I think we're going to be fine.
Any information regarding voting machines and internet brings back the old argument of claim among those who see election fraud in every corner here,
Sure.
that the tabulators and everything is connected to the internet and can be messed with. How are they wrong when you've got this CrowdStrike thing and it's affecting election machines?
Well, they're wrong because they're wrong. The facts show they're wrong. The tabulation stuff, as I indicated, that have to do with the ballots, none of that is connected to the internet, so none of that would have been subjected to CrowdStrike. Our other systems, though, to a degree are our voter registration systems. We talked to all 15 of our counties over the internet, but we have a lot of protections in place, particularly the human shield that we have, which, by the way, includes 24/7 eyeballs by Arizona's National Guard on our system. We've engaged in that relationship under my administration. They're doing a great job watching for not just foreign actors, but unfortunate missteps like this CrowdStrike one, which hit a lot of other industries harder than it hit ours.
Yeah, voter rolls up to date. I know there's a lawsuit going on out there, at least the threat of a lawsuit. Is that lawsuit still going on? What's happening?
You know, here's the deal with our lawsuits. There's this many lawsuits, and they have 0 wins. The folks that have been challenging us based on lies, based on misinformation, based on disinformation, all they're doing is wasting taxpayer dollars. And as a matter of fact, just a couple days ago, I directed my legal staff to go to the Attorney General's office and our outside lawyers and calculate how much money we've wasted on these nonsensical lawsuits. They've got to stop. All they're doing is clogging up systems and eating up taxpayers over nothing.
Okay, but are voting rolls up to date?
Yes.
Okay, so that was the claim, and you're saying throw it out of here.
Well, these guys were using 2020 data. It's 2024. That's 4-year-old data. Of course, you're going to find inconsistencies with where we're at now and what they got then. It's the premise itself is to gin up support, to line their own pockets and to pay their own lawyers. And our taxpayers are footing the bill for this nonsense, and that's got to stop.
Some of these lawsuits are they impacting election deadlines? Could they stretch things out? Could there be a problem there? Is that a concern?
That's a great question. And ever since I started in elections administration, what we have during election season, we have meetings with the courts, with the clerks, with members of the election bar on all sides of politics, and we talk about the compressed timelines that are set up in the rules. So election litigation really has its own set of timeline rules, and it's got to be done quickly because the calendar doesn't stop just because you've got litigation. So it really doesn't interfere. It just adds to the work.
Because as you mentioned, deadline, August 9th, I think the deadline for electors, something along those lines?
So the August 9th deadline is to name the electors.
Yes.
Each of the parties have to have their electors named. That doesn't mean you got to have the candidate named, which is,
yes.
I think was one of the things we were going to talk about.
Yes.
Sorry to step on your thunder there.
It's all right.
But so, folks are making these allegations, oh, well, the deadline is going to pass. Well, it's not going to pass. We've gamed these things out. We understood that there was a possibility for a change on one ticket or the other, and so we figured out where we needed to be ahead of time. That's what we do in elections.
All right, let's get to it. Any impediments as far as Kamala Harris being on this ballot?
Other than political considerations, no. And that means that we have plenty of time for all of the counties to meet their ballot printing deadlines, and that's just fine. We're good to go on that one. There's really nothing to worry about, and the counties are going to be just fine.
What about threats of lawsuit trying to keep her off the ballots? Anything from, it's subverting the democratic process, it's subverting votes, the improper transfer of campaign funds could be.
Well, look, she was on the campaign committee. Well, I'm not going to argue the case for folks, but what I will say is this. If you're worried about the process, after you were encouraging for months and months and months to have Joe Biden resign anyway, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You got to pick. You either wanted Joe Biden on the ballot or you didn't. Now you got him or you don't. Come on, grow up. We got to figure this thing out and just move along so the voters can vote and make up their minds.
Got something from left field here. Is it possible that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris could be on the ballot for president?
No.
Not possible.
Well, no, because Joe Biden has withdrawn. He's given his delegates over to Kamala Harris, and she's already secured all of the delegates she needs for the nomination.
The key is, it seems to me, that the Democrats have not had their convention. They have not formally nominated yet. I mean,
no, but they will.
Right, but exactly. So all these scenarios, the left field scenario, it's okay now, but once the convention conversely, let's say Donald Trump takes an immediate disliking to J.D. Vance and he wants to put someone else up there. Will someone else be up there on a November ballot, or is that done deal because of the convention?
I think that's a done deal for the Republicans. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to. I could get back to you. But as far as the Democrats are concerned, they haven't had their formal vote, they haven't had the nomination, and they haven't had the formal acceptance. That has happened for the Republicans. Now, what I do know also is the Democrats are planning on having that vote before the convention actually happens. And so they're not going to miss any deadlines based on some of the scheduling in some of the states. The Democratic National Committee was a little worried about that, so that'll be taken care of. Everything's going to be fine.
What is deep fake AI, and how much of a threat is it?
Well, deepfake AI is the product of what's called generative artificial intelligence. This is where an emerging technology, which we've heard a lot about, can take either just audio, it can take audio video, and it can create from whole cloth or from basically data. It learns a subject and then it recreates the subject and it manipulates the subject to do whatever you tell it to manipulate the subject to do. And the deep fake is that fake version of the of the actual subject.
Have someone saying so. Yes. Okay. With that in mind, you brought along something that is quite interesting. This is the deep fake version of your Secretary of State with talents we did not know he had.
The real Adrian Fontes is fluent in English and Spanish, but AI-generated content using his likeness has no such limitations. Let's try talking in German. Damit ein böswilliger Angreifer Inhalte für ihn generieren kann, müssen weder Sie noch Ihr Ziel eine Sprache sprechen können. Consider the best and worst ways this technology can be used. It allows an individual to communicate with an audience in their native language using your voice. However, a malicious actor could use your likeness and benefit from the trust that people place in you to trick them and spread dangerous lies. Now, how about French? Les outils permettant de créer du contenu synthétique sont facilement disponibles, peu coûteux et accessibles à un plus grand nombre de personnes chaque jour.
All right. Well, a little creepy there. That's a little creepy. It has to be creepy to you because you don't speak German and you don't speak French.
That's correct. Creepy, and I speak neither of those languages. Look, we created these videos and we used them first in a tabletop exercise back in December of 2023 to train elections officials. We've since used them in tabletop exercises for members of the media and also in tabletops for law enforcement officials. We know that there are good uses for this technology, but there are also possible bad uses for this technology. So just like we want to get a gas generator backup plan in case the power goes out in a polling place, we want our folks to be trained as to how to deal with these sort of things if they pop up in the communication space.
Are there ways to be trained? I mean, were you moving your hands? Was your voice are there ways to figure out that ain't you?
There are some sets of software that are also actually AI. That you can run these videos and stuff through to check and see those aren't 100% accurate. And the scary part is this technology is moving much, much, much faster. This tape, or this video you just saw was made more than 6 months ago, and the technology has advanced significantly since then. It's almost indiscernible from what you're seeing right now, except that I still don't speak German and I still don't speak French. And so what we're doing is we're not really looking at a new weapon, we're looking at a new tactic, right? Can spread lies faster on social media. AI can create social media accounts and push this bad information through there. So really what we're trying to tell the public is a couple of things. First, vote early. Get to know your candidates, get to know your issues as early as possible, and vote early, because the likelihood is that these kinds of attacks will come later in the election cycle, closer and closer to election day, number one. Number two, pay attention now. Because if you do see something that emotionally moves you, and it moves you in a direction that's really awkward, it may very well not be real. And that's one of the reactions that we know to have to something that says, wait a minute,
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of tactics that voters can use to protect themselves. Number one, be aware and pay attention early and vote early. You're less likely to get caught up in one of these attacks.
Good information. Adrian Fontes, Arizona Secretary of State. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ted.